I'm telling you, it ain't nothing as dangerous as somebody who's making a comeback. You haven't had a fight till you get in the ring with somebody who's making a comeback. You haven't been through hell till you run up and punch somebody who ain't got nothing to lose. Slap somebody and say, nowhere to go but up. Already lost everything, already been through trouble, already been embarrassed, already been humiliated, already been talked about, already been laughed at, already been betrayed, already had my feelings hurt. Tell somebody, say, nowhere to go but up.
You can start to make a new stretch today. You can sign up for some new classes today. You can start engaging in constructive thinking today. You can make some life-changing decisions today. See, you don't ever have to be the same again, only by choice. And while you wait for prices to come down, I would go to work immediately and quickly on the refinement of your own thinking and the refinement of your own disciplines, and watch how quickly the equity of that starts to grow. Now, this is called dealing in straight talk. Let's go do it.
What's the first thing they say when you get on an airplane before they take off? Fasten your seatbelt. Why? Because you will experience some turbulence before you reach a comfortable altitude.
The only way to get unstuck is that you need something stronger, something greater, pulling the thing that is stuck. Because there's some people today that you're single and you feel like you're stuck. You feel like you're at a halt. You don't feel like you can progress in life.
You don't have to be popular to be powerful. I ended up going to dinner with, becoming friends with, eating with, fellowshipping with people who started out hating me. I had the capacity to withstand their hatred and the capacity to embrace their friendship. I understood that time defines you. Some people will understand you later. I didn't have the help I needed. I didn't have the money to do what I was doing. I didn't know anybody. But I knew one thing. I'm not in this thing by myself.
It's not about perfection, it's about progression. But some of you right now, you've got it in your mind. The only way I can progress is if I get a partner. Oh, but friend, you need something bigger than a partner to pull you out of this season where you feel like you're stuck. Guess what you need? You don't need a partner, you need a God-given purpose.
We all go through times where it doesn't feel like we're making progress. We're being our best, but not getting good breaks. The problem hasn't turned around. When we're not getting our way, we're doing the right thing, but we're being overlooked. Our friend got married, but we're still single. We're working harder than our coworker, but they got the promotion. We feel overlooked, undervalued, forgotten. These times of isolation where you're not being celebrated are extremely valuable. Nothing may be changing on the outside, but something's happening on the inside. Your character is being developed. You're learning to not depend on people. You're gaining experience, maturity, strength that you'll need to go where God is taking you.
This is what I found out being a professional alone person. It's okay to be alone. I get over 1,000 messages every single day. And a lot of people write to me saying, Ralph, I just can't seem to find anybody I can get on with. And I don't like it. It's okay to be alone. The reason why a lot of people experience a lot of loneliness is because they are in resistance to being alone. Because being alone is frightening for the majority of the human race. You got to be with yourself. You got to go within. A lot of stuff is going to come out. That's why a lot of us, we want to always be with friends. But if you continue just to follow the crowd, you will only go as far as the crowd.
Life situations is to use the illustration of the seasons. Number one, you cannot change the seasons until you get your own planet. All of this has been set in motion. But here's the next piece of information. You can change yourself. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. Life and business is like the changing seasons. Frank Sinatra sang, life is like the seasons. First, learn how to survive the winter. Speaking of life in its simplest aspect, the first key to learn in your life on the spinning planet is to learn how to survive. Now, there's all kinds of winters, right? The winter of the calendar, right? The winter of the actual season. But then there's financial winters and social winters, personal winters. But we understand those because we've all been through it. Now, here's the key on the winters. Some are long and some are short. Some are easy and some are tough. But they always come right after harvest, right after fall, autumn. So we cannot rearrange the coming of the winters. But here's what we could do. Get stronger, wiser, and better so that we can survive better. And our life will be less eroded by learning to handle the next winter of a divorce, the next winter of an illness, the next winter of a death in the family, the next winter of a loss financially, the next winter of a crisis of whatever kind, to be better equipped. So here's the key, to learn the seasons so that you can approach it all in a very intelligent way. So you must think negative when it's positive. You must think winter when it's summer. Here's some of the best advice. It comes from classic tradition. A great story says, don't build your house on the sand in the summer. You must not be faked out when it's nice. You must think storm in the summer and not get faked out. And if you think storm, now you'll look for a rock on which to build your house. Now you're going to be safe. So you can't think nice when it's nice. You got to think storm when it's nice. The seasons are going to come and change. And if you're not educated to that degree, now you suffer a great loss. Now here's the next philosophy. The time to think positive is when it's negative. Why? Because the negative won't last long. How long is the winter? Isn't that long? Just hang on. It's not going to take that long. How long is the night? It's only a few hours. There's never been a double night. Couldn't you make it a few more hours? And the story says, yes, the night just can't last for. Sometimes it seems like it's going to last forever. And when you have insomnia, right, it seems like the night will never pass. But I'm telling you, sure enough, it will pass. So learn to think day when it's night. And then you must learn to think night when it's day. So you had to get it going, get it in before the night came. So this is a good idea now. Learn to think negative when it's positive. Learn to think storm when there is no storm. Learn to think winter in the summer. But then we must learn to think summer in the winter. We can make it through a few more hours, right? A few more days. It won't be that long. Hang in here. The spring will surely come. So the winters of life, learn to express those to other people, help them understand that as well as to try to understand it yourself. Now here's the next season, the spring. Spring is called opportunity. Not a guarantee. It's guaranteed the spring will come, but it's not a guarantee of a harvest. Here's the key, you must do something with the spring. Take advantage of the spring. Read every book you can get your hands on what to do with the springs of your life. Take advantage of the day, because the day follows the night. It's an opportunity now to turn things around. It's an opportunity to have a better one than the last one. It's an opportunity for a new beginning, a new spring, a new day, a new beginning. So spring is the chance to take advantage of another opportunity. Now, here's what you must do in the spring. It's a very short season usually. You must hurry. You wouldn't ask a farmer to go bowling in the spring. He hasn't got time. Why? The season is too short. The planting season is too short. You've got to get it done fairly quickly. Now, we call spring a window of opportunity. If you have a chance to talk to someone, the window's open. It may not stay open very long, so take advantage. Don't hesitate. Meet a new friend. talk to somebody while the window's open. Now here's the season for everybody to understand, because it is so applicable to our life, and that's the season of summer. 2 things we must do in the summer: nourish our values and protect. Nourish like a mother, protect like a father. The twin challenges in the summertime help to illustrate life, that we are confronted with both good and evil.
When you're at the top, when you're an owner or you're the leader, there's times where you have to do things by yourself. There's no doubt about that. And if you have a problem with that, you're going to have a problem being in a leadership position. Because there's things that you have to do as a leader. You have to lead from the front. You have to work harder. You have to do extra. And if you're not, that's not good. And if you're working harder, there's going to be times when you're not with anyone else. And you have to be okay with that.
That's what that expression means, it's lonely at the top. Meaning, like, you're at the top because you're willing to behave or be a certain way that other people either can't or won't, right?
From that perspective, you're definitely lonely at the top.
Yeah.
There's no one that's going to sit there and do what I'm willing to do to be there. Like, where are you at? I don't know. Haven't seen you.
If you want any value at all, come harvest. You gotta press, you gotta be bold. The high life is not for the timid and the shy. Some people mistake timidity for humility. Humility is a virtue. Timidity is a disease. Humility is almost godlike word. A sense of awe, a sense of wonder, a sense of understanding the distance in worth, an awareness of the human soul, the spirit, something unique about the human drama versus the rest of life. A grasp of the distance between us and the stars, and yet having the feeling that we're part of the stars. It's okay to dream, but we must not just become a dreamer. Be proud, but not arrogant. It takes pride to win the day. It takes pride in company, opportunity. It takes pride in group, organization. It takes pride in cause and accomplishment. But the key is to be proud without being arrogant.
If you want the audacity to be successful, don't you understand the crap that comes along with that? Like, I wanted the audacity to be in shape. It's come with a lot of crap. It's been a lot of work. You deal with it because it's a very small price to pay for all the phenomenal stuff that you headline read and you aspire to and you dream for. The problem is most of you don't want to eat that shit to get there.
Analyze where you are. Go into your store. What's in here? What's old? What's decaying? What stinks? Okay, what's that over there? Negative attitude. Gotta get rid of that one. Negative people. We can't hang anymore. You got to go. You can't do this anymore. Fear. Come out of there. What's over there in the corner? Procrastination. What's over there? Okay, bad attitude. All that stuff, get out of there. Throw it out. It's got to go. And what do I need? What do I need to get me from where I am to where I need to go? What do I need? Okay, I need more people who dream like me, who think like me, who can stretch and grow like me. I gotta surround myself with more people like that. All right, good. I need more confidence here. I need to develop more belief in my ideas and in my plans. I've got to do that. What else do I need to get to where I need to get to survival, to live? What do I need? Okay, I'm going to a new place. I need new skills. So this is what it is, inventory. Throw out what you don't need, add what you need.
Here's one of the better realistic illustrations, and that's health and illness at odds in your body. Illness trying its best to drive health into a small corner and occupy the territory. And health trying what? To push illness into a small corner. There's this contest going on. Who's going to occupy the territory? If one stays strong, the other is diminished. If the other gains in power, then the other is diminished. So what you must learn to do is cooperate with the positive side of everything in your body and your life. Sometimes we sabotage our own best interest. Because if we get weak, I'm telling you, it moves in, takes the territory. So we're in the middle of this contest, and here's what it's called: opposites in conflict. Good, evil, liberty, tyranny, right? Health, illness, winning and losings, right? There's the struggle going on. But here's the key. It's the only way, it seems, it's the only way to create a human adventure. Doesn't seem to be any other way currently. It seems like to create an adventure, to create a unique human scenario, we need opposites in conflict. And it's the only way to have a civilized society. And we've got to fight these skirmishes. We've been fighting them forever. We've got to fight them forever. Whether they're inside your own body or whether they're in politics, no matter where they are. We must play this game. We must fight this game. But here's what it creates, a great adventure. Let me give you the ultimate now. Could you win if you couldn't lose? And the answer is no, it doesn't seem like it. You couldn't call it winning. You can't win if you couldn't lose. So that's the deal now. Negative, positive. Would there be negative, positive without negative? No, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like this is the current setup, you know, for the foreseeable future. It looks like it's been that way as long as we can remember and as long as the history tells us. So here's what you want to do if you want the adventure. You must learn to play this game, to work with all the positive forces to defeat the negative forces as early and as soon and as much as possible, to contain the ravages of disease that want to take you early. You got to fight back. You can't just leave it. Somebody says, well, I got my fingers crossed. Not a good philosophy. You got to take your vitamins. You got to do the stuff. You got to do the deal. Jump on the positive side of whatever you want and see if you can't help out in this warfare and this push-shove match. That's the key. So in the summer, here's what you must do. Nourish the plants and the garden. Nourish your values like a mother. Give life. Whatever you start now, you must nourishment and give it life. Don't neglect a new life if you've started a new life. What if you said to a brand new mother, where is your baby? She says, I have no idea. You would say, no, that isn't right. If you start a new life, you must care for it. You must protect it. You must give it life, give it nourishment. Now here's the other part. You must protect it like a father. That's why the old wise man said, we must learn to love and hate. And the illustration he used was, you must learn to love good and hate evil. To deal with the weeds in your garden, you've got to hate weeds. You've got to hate them enough to what? Kill them. You can't say, well, poor weeds. Say, no, this ain't the deal, poor weeds. So, learn the good evil. Now, here's the greatest battle in the mind. Here's what you must not become in the summer in your mind, a victim of yourself. What is that insidious voice inside your own head that says, you're too short, it'll never work for you, you're too tall, right? It's over for you, right? It's never worked for you before. What gives you any idea that it'll work for you now? You've never been able to rise up and take charge of your life. What makes you think you can do it now? There's going to be too many obstacles out there. You'll never overcome them all. What is that insidious voice? It's the same game going on inside your head that's going on in the world. Liberty and tyranny in a push-shove match. And here's what you've got to do. Cooperate with the positive side of your life and let faith drive out doubt, right? Let winning drive out losing. Let positive drive out negative. But you've got to get into the contest. And why get into the contest? Because that's how you create an adventure. There is no other way. It takes both. You've got to learn to laugh, yes, but that's not what the wise men only said. You can't just learn to laugh and keep on laughing. No, that's silly. It says there's also a time to cry. You've got to learn to both laugh and cry. Then it said you must be so sophisticated as not to laugh when it's time to cry. Then it further says you must learn to laugh with those that laugh and learn to cry with those that cry. That now gives you an understanding what life is all about. Sadness and joy, the contest, the difference. And yet it creates the adventure. But here's the adventure: to overcome the evil, to put evil in its place. Just like in your mind, you've got to stand guard at the door of your mind and see if you can't suppress, see if you can't do battle with the negative forces. Don't become a victim of yourself. Beware of the thief on the street that's after your purse, but also beware of the thief in your mind that's after your promise. And see if you can't engage in this mental contest and win the day. That's the summer. Now here's one more season, and that's the season of harvest. Here's the key to remember harvest time: in due season, in due time, when it's time. And part of this is to develop the patience so that when it's time, it will come. But you cannot be impatient. Patience is part of the game here. You can't plant the seed and 2-3 days later dig around and say, where's my crop, where's my crop? I say, no, come on, that's foolish. We'll take you away to some safe place. You got to plant and wait and exercise patience. And then when it comes time, you give it nourishment and you give it care and you give it protection, and then you got to wait some more and you got to wait some more and you got to wait some more.
Right? And so never allowing a situation or circumstance to define your life, and understanding that you got something inside of you that's greater than that situation or that circumstance, but you have to constantly believe it. And not only believe it, you have to make decisions and choices every single day to put you a step forward toward what you believe your destiny is. Either somebody is in the midst of adversity or just came out of adversity, or it won't be long before they head into adversity. So you need to be prepared either way. And so we all go through adversity, opposition. I think that's the thing that makes us all in common as people. Right? No matter if you're from London, Atlanta, Florida, California, New York, like we're all going to go through something at some point or phase in our life. Right? And as cliche as it sounds, when the quote says, it's never about what happens to you, it's about how you respond to it. That's very true. Right? But in the same sense, I think what's most important is when we go through something, what's the perspective that we have of it? Right? Because for most people, when you go through something, the person's natural perspective is, okay, what did I lose? Right? What happened to me? Like, I took a loss, right? People never look at it and say, okay, man, tell me, what did you gain? Right? Even though I know it hurt, you didn't want to go through it, but look at it in a way to where you can say, what's the lesson in this? Right? What would you say life is trying to teach you from dealing with this? And so when I went through it, my perspective was, okay, what can I extract from it to apply to other areas and aspects of my life that I feel can help other people? And I firmly believe the quicker you can shift your perspective from yourself to others when you're in the midst of adversity, the quicker you'll get through it. Right? Martin Luther King has a quote that says, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing to help other people? Now, I'm not telling you to not acknowledge your pain. I'm not saying that. I'm not telling you not to say, man, I'm going through this and it's hard. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you go through it, look at it, step back from the picture and say, okay, I'm dealing with this. 9 out of 10 times, it's somebody else that's either dealt with it or they're going to deal with something similar to this. And if I deal with it in the right way, I can use it to add value to lives of other people. The funny thing was, I had never heard of the injury that I suffered. Never heard of it. When I went through it, I met probably 10 guys years after that had been going through it, that I could talk to at different stages and phases in the process and say, hey man, Ink, how did you deal with this? How did you deal with this? When they told you this, how did you accept that? And I was like, bingo, this is how I got through it. But I had to shift my perspective from why me to why not me? Can you take the things you learned that made you great in that sport and apply them to other areas and aspects of your life to make you just as great as a person? Man, it's funny. I think the true measure of wealth is happiness, right? Like I really do. And that's not saying that I'm against money. I'm not against that at all, because you gotta work hard, make your money to take care of your family and be able to bless people. But I think it's a lot of people with so-called wealth and they don't have joy and they don't have happiness, right? And I feel like joy, happiness is peace is the most important things we can possess, right? And for most people, their material possessions, they feel are the most important. For me, when you got joy, when you got peace, when you got happiness, I think that's true wealth, because you can't put a price on that.
There are going to be wave after wave after wave after wave of inconvenient that hits you in the mother face, all right? That doesn't matter. People who win regardless of those waves. It's not that they don't have those waves, it's that they say, hey, I can't control what the f is going on. All I control is what I decide in my mind and the actions I take. Some days are going to be harder than others. Some days are going to be a little easier than others. But I can promise you one thing for sure. There will never, ever ever be a day that goes exactly as you want it to go. The world owes you nothing. The world doesn't think you're special like your mom does. It doesn't think you're a delicate little flower. It doesn't care about you. Now, with that being said, the world doesn't hate you. It doesn't want you to fail. It just is, okay? You don't know everything, okay? You have to understand winning in business is not about you personally as the CEO of a company being the best at every skill set. There's certain things in my company that I have no clue on how to do, but that's okay. My job is to go out and find people that can do that far better than myself so that we can win as a team. And this attitude of I've got to be the best and I've got to win and I've got to, you know, and I'm the best at everything and I know more than you. It makes horrible leadership. Nobody respects that. People respect when you look them in the eye and you say, hey, what do you think? And then they give you an answer, and then it's your job to decide whether or not that is the best thing to do or whether or not somebody else has the best thing to do. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to not be right. It's okay to admit that you weren't right. And in fact, if you want the respect of your team and your peers, you will be willing and able to admit that you made mistakes the minute that you make them. You want to be somebody who succeeds. You want to be somebody who builds something. You want to be somebody who people write books about one day. You are going to have to be okay with being bad at for a long time. And that's the mentality you guys have to have. You have to be okay with looking like an idiot for a long time. People start what-ifing themselves. All right. They say, all right, I got this great idea, but what if I do all this work and it doesn't work? What if I put in all this time to become an excellent employee and I don't get promoted? What if I put in all this work to become an excellent salesman and I don't sell? What if, and I'll tell you what if, where are you going to be? Because it isn't going to be any better than where you are now. You talked yourself out of going after what you were supposed to go after. You talked yourself out of your purpose. You talked yourself out of the idea that success is cause and effect, not magic luck or magic fairy dust. You see big things, you hear big things, you see people who do big things, and you automatically say, wow, that guy's so lucky. Wow, she's so lucky. Wow, that's so lucky that happened. Quit using the word luck, quit believing in luck, and start believing in work. Start believing in fortunate. Start believing in results that come from your actions. And when you do that and you wholeheartedly believe it, guess what? That's what starts to happen.
It simply means that hard times are nothing more than growth coming to get you in wolf's clothing. I'm going to repeat that again with great love and respect because it's important. Hard times, we all go through hard times. It's really nothing more than growth in wolf's clothing. And the real game of the legend and history maker and titan and hero is growth. It's about taking your gifts and your talents and materializing them each day. And how do you do that? You do that by using every single thing that happens to you, good or bad, as grist for the mill. In other words, using everything that happens to you, painful and poetic, to make you stronger and to introduce you to the primal hero that lives at the core of every human heart. I've gone through some very difficult times in my life, sometimes where I was down on my knees, sometimes when I was so confused, sometimes when I was in the valley of darkness. And one of the things that helped me most and that will help you as you navigate your turmoil and painful seasons of life, you say, how can I use this to grow? How can I use this to shatter the covering over my ego so I become more creative, more productive, more loving, more of service, more on fire, more of a history maker to humanity in my own unique way? If you look at the greatest people of the planet, the true leaders, the true history makers, the true servants of humanity, if you look at the greatest business builders, if you look at the greatest artists, they all had one thing in common. They suffered more than the ordinary person. If you look at the root of the word passion, it is to suffer. The root of the word passion is to suffer. The great ones suffer for their craft. They suffer for their mission. They suffer for their ambitions. They suffer for their service. So the second point, or the second way to get through hard times, is simply always be asking yourself, how can I use this to serve me, to make me stronger, more creative, tougher, braver, and more authentic? The third way to get through a hard time is to feel to heal. I want you to remember that brain too. If you want to heal it, you need to feel it. People come to me all the time. Robin, I'm heartbroken. Robin, there's someone trying to attack me. Robin, I've lost a business. Robin, I'm dealing with an illness. What do I do with all the pain? Well, here's the point number 3. Feel it to heal it. You know about my 4 interior empires model that is currently disrupting the field of personal mastery, elite performance, and leadership. It's not only mindset, that's only the first interior empire. The second one is heart set. The third one is health set. The fourth one is soul set. I go into it in great detail in my book, The 5 a.m. Club. Here's the point I want to share with you right now in this mastery session. On interior empire number 2, heart set. That is how you turn pain into power. A lot of people say, well, it's all about mindset. Read the books on getting through a difficult time. Read the books on amplifying your psychology. I want to introduce you to this new word I'm offering, your heart set. So when you're going through a difficult time, society says, run away from the pain, run away from the sadness, run away from the anger. What I'm suggesting to you is to heal the wound that someone caused you, or a condition caused you, or an experience has set up within you. You need to go into your heart set.
People who are not your children, you are under no obligation to help people. You're not responsible for another adult's happiness, well-being, or welfare. You're not responsible for that, nor should you make yourself responsible for another person. Take that pressure off you.
Take a look at the people that are around you, and if they're not on the side of what's good for you, then walk away.
Why do we care so much about people who don't care about us? That won't be there in the hard times, that won't be there when you hit rock bottom, that won't be there in your struggle, that never call you and ask you how you doing, that never call you and see how your day is going. Why do we care about what they think?
Character is that way. That's why a person with character does not live on what's popular. They live on what is principle.
The company you keep tells a whole lot about you. Someone say out loud, check your circle. See, the people around us, I don't care what your job is, I don't care how strong you are, I don't care how far down the road of life, the people around you, the more time you spend with them, I don't care who you are, you're going to become like them.
Sometimes when you give from your heart, you are empowering people. And when you empower the wrong one who has malicious intent, they got their hand out because they have no power. They're weak, they're broke, they're struggling. Something is going on. And you reach your hand out to them. You let them move into your home. You let them borrow money. You let them use your car. So therefore you are empowering them. They take your hand, and as soon as they get off the ground, that hand becomes a fist, and they proceed to knock you out.
If you've got somebody that's dragging, that's going down in a downward spiral, and you decide that you're just going to pour everything into them, well, then you're going to go down that downward spiral as well. And now you're not going to be able to help them. Oftentimes when you think you're helping someone, you're really just enabling them. You got to detach. You got to make sure you're not becoming emotional. You got to make sure that you're seeing the person and the situation for what it really is. Not what you want it to be, but what it really is, who they really are, what they are really doing.
Experience is your highest truth, and I don't want you to ignore the truth. I don't want you to disown the experience. There was an open hand from your heart to help somebody get on their feet. And once you took their hand, they took that same hand that you helped them get up with, turned it into a fist, and tried to figure out a way to knock you out.
Do you notice that 95% of all your voicemails are a request? Don't you become the 911 in everybody's life. Just stop. Release yourself from the pressure. Now her number, I would just block her number. I just learned how to block numbers. Did you all know that? It's the greatest, oh my God. Oh. That's what I gave myself for Christmas. My life's so good right now.
Some of y'all right now are in relationships and friendships that you are clearly being used and taken advantage of. They're jealous of who you are and all the things you have, and yet they're using you for these various things. Pay attention to people and who they really are. Don't manipulate your mind to thinking, you know what, maybe I'm just being a negative person. There's this thing called instincts, intuition, and discernment. Pay attention to them. Don't disown them, because you will end up in pain in the end.
Here's how you know if someone's your friend. You can tell them bad news, and they'll listen. They won't tell you why, you're stupid and why that bad thing happened to you and how something worse happened to them once and, derail the whole conversation. You can tell them good news, and they'll help you celebrate. And that's a really good way of deciding who you should have around you.
We've all been used, we've all been taken advantage of. It doesn't feel good. And when you get used and taken advantage of or manipulated, you're doing everything and operating and coming from your heart. But unfortunately, other people have malicious, evil, and vindictive intentions towards you. And all you have to do is forgive those, but more importantly, learn from it.
You find yourself in success. You lose yourself in significance. It's when we begin to add value to others that we begin to lose ourselves, because now the cause is greater. Our why, our purpose, our why is bigger than us. When you find your why, you'll find your way. Everything changes at that time.
Because once you find that, it puts you in your power place. See, if you know what your life work is, I encourage you to start working on it. And if you don't know what it is that you showed up to do, I encourage you to find out what your purpose is here. What is the meaning of your life? What will be different? Have you ever asked yourself that question?
One of the great distractions of chasing our dreams is this thing that goes off in our head as we're negotiating the price we're paying. Should I keep paying it? Is it getting too high? Is it too much? And you'll have people in your ear, it's too big a sacrifice. You're going through too much. And you begin to negotiate it in your mind. It distracts all your focus. You can't be executing and negotiating simultaneously.
You have to have 7 straight days of being absolutely positive. Not one negative thought, not one negative expression that you hold on to. And you know what? After you go about 4, 5, 6 days in a row doing really well, something major negative is going to happen. How's that for some positive programming? But what it is a test to see how committed you really are.
If you're in your head negotiating and negotiating and negotiating, you can't execute. So negotiate it now. Negotiate it with me now. What are you willing to pay? For me, when I'm after something big, as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, I'll sacrifice everything else. But I will not sacrifice anything legal, anything unethical, or anything immoral.
A person without character will say one thing, do another, and promise something else. So you never know who you're talking to when you're talking to them. No character.
We should not fear failure, for example. Anyone can fail, and virtually everyone does at one time or another. But if we should not fear failure per se, we should fear failure to do our best.
Do not cast pearls before swine. A very, very harsh statement, right? But what it means is, if you're offering words of wisdom to someone in the genuine attempt to help, and they treat that with contempt, then shut up. You're demeaning your words by throwing them away.
And that we should refuse to accept. You're never just a victim of circumstances. No matter what happens, you're never without options that can get you back on track. It takes courage to recognize that, but I would suggest that we should accept that responsibility because no one is really going to accept it for us.
I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to be perfect the first time I did something. It's not going to happen. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to hurt some folks' feelings. You're going to create some enemies. Whenever you decide that you want to begin to take life on, you've got to ask yourself, how long am I going to allow this to hold me back?
It's about treating people the way you would want to be treated and doing the tasks that you don't necessarily want to do, but that you know will help you. It's about facing your fears so you can conquer them.
You're so consumed with everything that's going on in the world. This is the reasons you haven't figured out your own life yet. Every website, every tweet, every Instagram post, with everything that's going on in the world, you're ignoring your own world. You can never shine trying to sit on someone else's sun. You can never figure out who you are if you're consumed in everything that everybody else is and what they're doing and the moves that they're making.
Can you get laser obsessively focused almost to its exclusivity, almost, but for an extended period of time towards something you want so badly, you want it like oxygen. It's like you want it like you want to eat. You want it like you want to live, right? Are you extendedly laser focused on it, or do you get distracted easily?
We're to find ourselves, isn't it interesting, to lose ourselves. And we lose ourselves when our purpose becomes bigger than us. To find a purpose, how important. But then to take that purpose and place it in a position that has eternal factors involved is to lose yourself and to go to another whole level of life and another level of living.
It's here that wisdom provides very real, very practical benefits. It's wisdom that provides a sense of life's value and assurance that all the effort has been worthwhile. There's no question that we must take care of our material needs, but a fulfilled life requires meaning as well as substance.
Unfortunately, many people reject what God made them to be. And they spend their entire lives trying to be something they're not. And then they wonder why they're so unhappy and so unfulfilled. You were made to be you, not anybody else. And if you try to be somebody else that you're not shaped to be, you're going to be miserable.
People don't do what they know in life, but what they do is they operate within the context of the vision they have of themselves. How to begin to get a larger vision of yourself and how to begin to make this your decade. Because in order to do that, it's going to be very challenging. It's going to require that you begin to see yourself worthy of the requirements in terms of effort, in terms of commitment, in terms of action, or whatever it is that you need to do in order to take your life where you want to take it.
Of course, the reality isn't quite that simple. But it's not as simple either as thinking that just because you're older, things are now going in the opposite direction. And that while you used to want to do everything, you should now want to do nothing. No, reality is by no means that simple either.
Because you've been through some stuff, and you can help them, give them advice, give them insight over things that they may be struggling with. This is what the love circle is. We spread love. When people write comments and tell their stories, respond to 10 people without you knowing you have signed up to be a part of the love circle. I love you. Tag whoever needs to see this video and make sure you share it.
Credit goes to our awesome patrons who make videos like this one possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell button to get notified when our new videos are released. And as always, thank you for watching.